Hey guys, so I look like crap today. I apologize. Been sick since Saturday night. It's like a sinus allergy thing. Not COVID. Crap, I shouldn't have said that. I'm not gonna get monetized. No, I think you can now. Whatever. We'll find out. I was going to tell a story today, and there was only one article I could find on basically back information on this person. But this is about a suicide that actually happened in a building that I used to work in. The day that it happened, I was actually traveling for work. I used to work for the state of Tennessee and worked in the Tennessee Tower downtown Nashville. I worked for Environment and Conservation, and we did a lot with recycling. And I remember that day, I believe we were at the opening of a new recycling center or the groundbreaking of a new recycling center or something. So I wasn't in the office at all that day. So I actually heard about it. I believe someone texted us and told us what happened. Me and my boss who were there. And then the next day could sort of see the aftermath of it from the windows. So this happened July 14th, 2016, and it was just before 6 a.m. I, out of respect, I think, did not take photos. Obviously, I didn't see this person laying there because I came the next day, but you could see where that person had landed, and they had to remove all the concrete tiles on the outside of the building in that spot and then replace them. So it was very obvious where it happened. We could see it from our windows. I worked on the 12th floor at the time, and the building is 31 stories. So the police identified the man as Anton Konevsky, who was 26 years old, who was visiting Nashville from New York. He was originally from Ukraine, if I remember correctly. I'll touch on that in just a little bit. But a state worker who actually, she worked in the same department as me. I didn't know this woman. She, her or the other woman that saw it, they worked on the 10th floor, which was kind of like our finance section of our department. So I only knew like two people on that floor. But she actually saw him fall past her window. So everyone remembers talking about that that day and the next few days, just how rough that must have been for her to see that. According to police and according to construction workers who went up on the roof after he jumped, and I believe that was unrelated. They didn't know that someone had jumped. They found his keys to a brand new car they just bought. I don't know that the car necessarily was brand new, but it was new to him. Excuse him. His phone and his sandals. So he took all of those out and proceeded to jump off the building. His social media profiles show that he's from East Meadow, New York, and he is fluent in Russian, as again, he was from Ukraine originally as a child. He was an online journal blogger. He had chronicled his brief few days in Nashville on Facebook, and apparently he was looking for work according to this one source, and as usual, all of my sources are in the description box below. But I don't think that that's correct because unless he was just looking for short-term work to help pay for his trip, this was, from my understanding, like a cross-country trip. And Nashville was just one of his destinations. Now, the issue of how he got on the roof is widely debated. I have gone up to that roof many times myself out of curiosity, and you cannot access the roof without a key code. We had a walking trail up on the 28th floor, I believe it was. It was very nice, basically lining the windows of the building. You could see for miles and miles and miles. I mean, you could see everything, and it was just the whole perimeter of the building was a nice walking trail for us, basically, for people to go on their breaks and stuff and stretch their legs. So you had to take the elevators were split. I think there was 6 elevators in all in the building, and 3 of them went to like the first 14 floors or something like that, and then the other 3 went straight up to like 15 on. So you had to take one of those 3 elevators up to the top floor or the staircase, and then from the 28th floor you had to hop on the staircase, and you could take the staircase all the way up to the roof access, but the roof was always locked. Every time it was locked. I'm horribly afraid of heights. I never wanted to get up on the roof and take a look out like over the ledge or anything like that, but I just out of curiosity wondered, like, is the roof open? Like, can I peek out the door and see like this high up? That'd be pretty cool. And then go back in where I'm safe. So unless he knew what the keypad was, which makes no sense because he wasn't even from there and none of us state workers knew what it was, there's no way he could have gotten in from inside of the building. Also, there was no camera footage of him coming inside of the building, and there were cameras at the entrances. Another thing that people keep quoting in these articles that's driving me nuts, though, is the security of the building. I know this one, I believe it's the Nashville Scene article, said something about he couldn't have gotten in without an ID and a reason for being there. That's only partially true. I always got very frustrated at the lack of security in that building because the security people that worked all the doors couldn't give 2 craps why you were there. Yes, you had to present an ID and they would scan it and print out a little visitor tag for you. But literally you would walk in and be like, hey, I need a visitor's pass. And they'd go, I need to see your ID. Where are you going? And you'd be like, 12th floor. I have a meeting on the 12th floor. I work here. I forgot my badge and I have to go grab my wallet from the 12th floor. Like, what? I've forgotten my wallet a million times and gone in, and it's a security guard I've never seen before and they let me through. I've seen other visitors come in and that's all they ever asked. Like, what floor are you going to? And then they print that out on the badge. Nobody throughout the building checks your badge. Nobody's like, hey, that says 12th floor. You're up on the 30th. What are you doing up here? The security is a joke. Like, all it is tracking that you were there, basically, and nobody's going to stop you from visiting other floors and stuff. They really need to up their freaking security. So people saying that it's like impossible that he could have gotten through, that's not true. But because there was no camera footage of him coming in, I don't believe that he went that way. That whole year, really, that this happened, there was construction on the outside of the building. I believe they were cleaning the windows, cleaning the grouting work, because it was an old building, and then redoing something, I can't remember what. But there was scaffolding all up the side of the building, and there was an outdoor elevator. It's unknown whether he took the outdoor elevator or... one article suggested that it would be possible that he climbed up, as he was a rock climber, and it's basically a 32-foot ladder to the top. So that is a possibility, obviously very dangerous. I don't know the security of the elevator because obviously I never got in the construction elevator. I was an employee there. I was not doing construction. So no one knows exactly how he got up to the top of the building. That was all of our question. Everyone thought originally, before we learned that he was from New York, that he must have been a state worker and must have somehow had access to the roof, more access than other people, I guess. But once we learned that he was from out of town, we all thought that was really weird because that door's always been locked. Continuing back on my notes here. Excuse me. Now, in his travel blog that he started earlier that year, it showed that in May he had journeyed to Sedona, Arizona and the Grand Canyon, and he wrote that he'd caught travel fever. And he said, in fact, I'm planning an open-ended road trip across the United States starting July 2016. It's going to be my first road trip, and my primary objectives are to see other places, learn about people, and eventually find a new and better place to live. But obviously by the time of July 14th, something had drastically changed, causing him to jump, sadly. After climbing up to the top of the building, he sent a cryptic message to a young woman named Alexandra Amaral, I apologize, I know I'm butchering her last name, who he had met online and visited during his trip to Sedona. The final hour text message indicated that he would jump, but was also rambling and unclear. And I'm quoting the Nashville Scene article here. One second. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? Here you go. Here you go. I apologize. There's going to be a little bit of music in the background to keep him occupied. So, the text message supposedly said, quote, "After I climbed the tower and jumped over the source back there, you want me to decode an impossible lock? I think the password is live and the door is not meant to be opened except from inside. I don't know what else I can do except jump off this building. I don't believe and something I believe has been removed, would have me do this. This would be evil. Sad face." Which is weird. That to me sounds like he's saying like he got on the roof somehow and he's stuck on the roof. But like, why would you jump off? Like, if you have your phone, why wouldn't you just call somebody? Which also makes me think, was he in some sort of psychosis? Was he under the influence of something? I'm not sure. And I don't think the details of his autopsy, like the blood work and stuff, were ever publicly released. Now, this article goes on to say that the message appears to be a part of a back and forth conversation of some kind, but both police and the woman he was texting say the message stood alone. Now, let me see here. Again, the article goes on to talk about the security, which I've already gone over was a joke. Anton Konevsky and his family came to the U.S. from Lithuania when he was a child, but they, like I said, were originally from Ukraine, and they moved to the Baltic Republic when he was 1 month old. He was an only child, and his parents helped with this article basically through their lawyer. They agreed to answer some questions, which was very kind of them. They immigrated to the U.S. in 2002 and had lived in New York, and Konevsky basically really hadn't traveled since then, once to Boston and twice to Toronto. But he was a translator for his parents, as they did not speak fluent English. When he arrived in Nashville, his details on his stay were obsessive in detail, according to this article. And he had done the same thing when in Sedona, I guess just giving a lot of detail. Now, during this time, he stayed, it says at the Nashville Downtown Hostel. I've never heard of that. I didn't know we had a hostel downtown, so I don't know. He spent the night checking out Lower Broadway and went to a couch surfing meetup at Cafe Coco. I do know where that is. That actually recently closed due to the pandemic, which is really sad because that's been around forever. It's like a little coffee shop, and they have really good food and stuff. His second day in town, he met a man in the hostel named Bill, who was in town for an international barbershop quartet conference. They ate a few meals together and visited Cheekwood, which is a museum here. And after his third day, Konevsky stopped blogging about his visit, which was obviously weird. Now, the woman who sort of witnessed this, like I said, she worked for the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. She worked on the 10th floor, and she just sat down to work that morning and saw a body fall past her window. She and her coworker did as well. Her name was Nikki Beasley. Her coworker was Mia Morley. Again, I didn't know them. I never worked with them. But she said that she basically saw some color and the shape of clothes falling past the window. And I do remember hearing this. People that I knew and worked with, she had told them, she told them basically that she thought someone dropped their clothes or something. Like that stuck out. But she looked across to her coworker and said, "I know you saw that." And according to her, quote, "I think I didn't want to believe it was a person, but there was something about that shape that makes you just know." Shortly after, she heard a loud thud like something exploded. She said that at first she thought construction crews might have dropped something, and she went over and looked out the window and saw him laying there and just started screaming, "It's a body, it's a body." Management had to rearrange the room where they worked that morning because they were seated basically looking out the window, and obviously they didn't want to continue doing that. Morley said that weeks following the event brought out the best and worst of people in the building, which I can fully back up and agree with. People were very opinionated on what had happened. They were either heartbroken and like, oh my God, I can't believe something like that happened, or very rude about it, if you know what I mean. So that was frustrating. But they did email everyone, and all of our managers talked to all of us and basically stated that therapy would be offered and covered for us. We were lucky in that with our insurance plan, we had certain like therapy options. So they were going to have a therapist ready basically for anyone who wanted to talk, anyone who was triggered by what had happened or by the subject or by the constant discussion of what had happened. So that was really nice. They handled it very well. But obviously no one went through what the two women who witnessed it did, and no one went through what, sadly, the gentleman did. Now, again, where he landed was removed. The tiles were like ripped up, and then they had to replace them. And because those tiles are very old, they're just like cream colored concrete tiles outside. There's much darker everywhere else around the building, and then there was just, I want to say it was like 8 maybe tiles that were replaced. So they were these big square tiles, and it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically almost the shape of a body were replaced. I did not take photos, which surprises me that I didn't take pictures, just for my own sake, out of my own morbid curiosity. And I don't mean that disrespectful in any way. That kind of stuff is just always intrigued me. But I think because it was just so close to home, I was like, I don't want pictures of it. But even if I did, I wouldn't be posting them here out of respect for his family. Now, oddly enough, the only correlation to this is that right before I started working at that building, or at that, with the state period, they had moved buildings from the LNC Tower. Now, the LNC Tower is another really tall tower downtown Nashville. It was, let's see, the Tennessee Tower was on Charlotte and 10th, I believe, and LNC, I think, was at 3rd and Broadway. So it was just kind of on the other side of downtown, more in the heart of downtown. And that's where we used to work. That's where our department used to be located, was in the LNC Tower. And when I was looking up articles for this, what popped up was an article from 1996 where a woman jumped from the 30th floor of the LNC Tower. So that was just a weird, like, we worked there, and then we moved over here, and there was a death from the 30-something floor of both buildings. This one there wasn't much information on, but I thought I would just add it to the end. It was never released who the woman was. She was also from another state, and she had come in one day. She was 20 years old, asked permission from it was LNC had a lot of different departments in it, but one of the things that they did was a radio station was in there. So she asked permission to go see the roof and go up on the deck and look around. I think there was like an observation deck up there, and they let her. They gave her a visitor's pass. She left, thanked them, and asked if she could come back, and they said that was fine. She came back the second day, asked for permission to go out on the deck again, and after a few minutes, someone from the radio station saw her standing on the ledge. Before he could get to her, she jumped. So it's really heartbreaking that this has happened as much as it has, and I'm sure it's happened a lot more than it's been advertised, but these were just two very interesting stories that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm sorry that I'm a little slow sounding and scatterbrained today, but like I said, I've been sick, so just trying to catch up with whatever. But I hope you guys did enjoy these. My heart goes out to the victims' families, obviously, in this. And if you or anyone that you know are having any kind of thoughts of harming yourself or taking drastic measures, such as the people in this, please reach out to someone. There are multiple resources online, on the phone, you know, anything. If you want to comment below and we can start an open dialogue about how we feel, I'm all for that. But don't let those fester, because no one wants that to be the end result for you. I don't want that. Plenty of strangers don't even want that for you. And if you need help, please, please, please reach out. And I will leave some resources below for that as well. So if you need any help, please click on those. Thank you guys. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button below. If you have any suggestions for videos, true crime or otherwise, please leave those in the comments below. If you would like to see more videos, please hit the subscribe button, as I upload new videos every Wednesday. And other than that, I will see you guys next week.